Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So today I'm here with a wrap up for July. And I haven't done a wrap up for a while, so why not? I also got a new decoration for my library. This is a dark pillow of Jonas. And it did come out a little dark, so I was a little disappointed by that. But it's still nice. It's part of my guys here. I need to get some lady pillows too. But lady pillows, that sounds like Carrie with Carrie's mother and the dirty pillows. Anyway, I digress. So let's see what I read. I really kind of hit a different group than what I normally do. So first up, I've decided to read my Nancy Drew books, at least the ones I have. I don't have a full set, starting with The Secret of the Old Clock, the original Nancy Drew by Carolyn Keene. Now, who exactly Carolyn Keene was, nobody knows. I remember when I was a kid, one of my friends was like, it's a man, and I got very disappointed. But I know there's like many ghostwriters for the series that, I don't know if they're still making Nancy Drew books, but I'm only going to go up to, as far as this book says on the back, because I'm not a sucker for punishment, I think it's up to like the volume 52 or something. This is the version from the 60s. This one is a little older than the one I grew up with. That was more of that 70s Nancy. She had a different hairstyle, and the illustrations were a little different, but I really enjoy these books. For me, reading a Nancy Drew is like going back in time. I really kind of learned to read on Nancy Drew, and I'm sure a lot of young girls did, and boys. I have some Hardy Boys too. I didn't get as much into Hardy Boys, but I did enjoy them, and I didn't love the TV show back in the day. So The Secret of the Old Clock is a pretty solid story. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It had some very suspenseful moments, I must say, and I was a little worried for Nancy when she was locked in that closet. And but the old gal, always has moxie in those situations. And I was thinking about Nancy, what a great role model she was for young girls. I mean, she doesn't really have a job. She's got Carson, her dad, who's the lawyer, and Hannah, who's the housekeeper. And she drives around in her convertible around town, solving mysteries. I did like in this one, it has some these bitchy girls who she runs into at the department store, and they're being like real mean girls towards her. I really liked that, and I liked the way she handled it. So I'm a big fan of Nancy Drew. I'm sure there are a lot of you guys out there, but I kind of loved it. So I'm going to keep going, and I read another one, but I'm going to keep going with the series. And they're easy to read. You can knock one off in a day. All right, so the next book I read, this was a little different for me because if you've watched my channel for a while, I don't do a lot of straight up romances. Gothic romances, yes, but not a lot of straight up romances. But I was intrigued by this book, Forbidden, by Beverly Jenkins. Beverly Jenkins is a fairly famous romance writer. A lovely booktuber by the name of Bree Hill recommended this book, so I immediately bought it on Amazon, and I was very sad to see Bree post a video saying that she's leaving BookTube, or maybe hopefully just taking a break, but I really enjoyed her channel. I will link it below anyway. She's got a lot of great videos. So I read this and I really loved it. This is a romance. It's part of her Old West series, #1. And one thing I really loved about this book is that it's like a classic romance. I think what turns me off about a lot of the romance that I've tried to, like the newer stuff that I've tried to read, when I say try to read, I'll read a few chapters and just put it down because it just doesn't interest me. There seems to be a different style now where you have the female, let's say if it's a straight couple romance, you have the girl's point of view, and she'll be it's in her first person narrative. Oh, he's so cocky. It's always this kind of thing where the guy's real cocky, and then it'll switch to his point of view, and he'll be like, she's so hot. It just is that same formula. This story had a lot of depth to it. So Forbidden takes place at the end of the Civil War. A black woman named Eddie, who is a free woman, decides that her dream is to go out west to California and start her own restaurant. She's a very talented cook. And in the afterword of the story, the author talks about her story was inspired by someone, or she had heard a story or read something about a black woman at that time seen walking across the desert with a cooker on her head, like carrying this pot. And I love that because she used that image, like, where is this woman going? What are her dreams? To create this character. And I really loved the character. And I loved the male character too, Ryan. What is his last name? Ryan Fontaine. Now, Ryan Fontaine was born a slave, but because of his, he's mixed race, and because of his light skin, he's able to pass. And he starts his own business and he becomes very successful in this town. Something really terrible happens to Eddie on the way, and she is basically dumped by this jerk of a guy in the middle of the desert. Ryan rescues her, saves her life. And they immediately have this attraction for each other, and it's a very slow build. So the basic conflict is he's in love with Eddie. At that time, interracial marriages were taboo. What is he going to do? Is he going to give up the privilege that he has passing for a white man, or is he going to give in to his passion and his feelings of true love? So that's the premise. I loved it, and it was nice to read a traditional old-fashioned romance again. I will definitely continue reading books by Beverly Jenkins. And this is number 1 in the series. I'll probably keep going with that eventually. Really enjoyed it. Speaking of romances, I bought a bunch of these Velda Johnston Gothic romances on eBay a while ago. First of all, I have to apologize. I see that there's a lot of humidity in this room. I have the air conditioning on, but it's still very humid and very warm. So if my camera looks very fuzzy, that's why. I'm not really sure what to do about it. So just wanted to make that little note. Anyway, Velda Johnston, I have quite a few of her books, and after reading these 2, I'm really hooked. I loved this. This is called The Silver Dolphin. It has a great cover. Nice hardback. I got a whole set of these, and they weren't that expensive. So the main character of this story is named Fiona. She is from Scottish immigrant indentured servants. This is in the 1800s. I'm not really sure exactly what year. And she's living in a whaling village on Long Island Sound. And the man that she falls in love with, the conflict arises when, because of her poor circumstances and her mother's poverty, her mother takes a job in the house of the local madam. So there is an assumption that Fiona is, because she lives there, is like a fallen woman. And that is confirmed when the man that she loves takes her to a house of ill repute when she expects him to like ask her to marry him or something. Anyway, big conflict. And she is one fiery girl. She does not forgive. And basically she spends the rest of the book trying to get even with him for doing that, but in a passionate, loving way, if that makes sense. So it is kind of like a tortured love story. But man, this was a good read. I really loved it. It goes from, the Silver Dolphin is a ship that belongs to her lover, but then it gets complicated. She ends up on this island in Fiji and staying there by herself in order to punish this man. I mean, it really covers a lot of ground for a pretty short book. So after reading this one, I'm like, okay, I will read a lot more Velda Johnston because it was great. So I went right to the next one, and that is called The Fateful Summer. I'm going to do close-ups of these because you really cannot see. Oh, there's Velda. I want to get an author photo like this, a black and white photo where I have like my, hand on my chin like that. I'll just wear my pearls in black, do the flip hairdo. Anyway, this one I loved too. First of all, I gave all 3 of these books 4 stars. The Fateful Summer, that didn't really hook me to the very end. And again, it's not long. but it is about another protagonist who is kind of a girl with a shady past. She is an adopted daughter of a very wealthy family. She's beautiful, but she really has her own mind. Emma is her friend, and Emma's from like a solid middle class family. She lives in Brooklyn. They go to Long Island for the summer, so there's almost like a Great Gatsby kind of feel to this world that they're in. But Amanda wants this Irish boy whose name is, son of Irish immigrants, his name is Michael Doyle. His father, he has money, but his father owns bars, and that is not considered proper for a well brought up young lady. So what I found really interesting about this book and why I ended up really loving it is the whole time you're kind of hearing Emma's point of view that Amanda is not only a hopeless romantic, but kind of a self-destructive girl, because she's giving up her chance to have family inheritance to be with this Michael, and things are really not working out, and she goes through a heck of a lot of suffering. But I'm not going to give away the ending. It really is a testament to the power of true love, a perfect romance. I give this one 4 stars. Thinking about it now, I might up it to 5 because I really, really enjoyed it. I read the second Nancy Drew, and these are the ones that I remember from when I was a kid. Nancy had the flip hairdo on the back, and I know I had this. We had, my sisters and I had probably most of them, and then they just kind of got lost along the way or read to death. This one I didn't like as much. I think this great cover sets it up as very mysterious, but by the time they get to discovering this hidden staircase, it was a little bit dull. So I think I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, you can't knock everyone out of the park. And last but not least, I did read one horror book, and that's Stage Fright by Garrett Boatman. This has been reissued through Valancourt Books, I believe, the paperbacks from hell. And this is an original one. It has a great cover. So the question is, does the book live up to this amazing cover? I did this as a buddy read with Tony Annucci, and he's on Instagram. I'll link his Instagram below. I don't think he has a booktube channel, but if he does, and I know what it is, I'll put it down there too. Out of the darkness of the fetid Hudson River, the undead rose to eat their victims alive. I have to say the opening scene in the Hudson River was really scary. A horror movie monsters burst from late night TV screens to turn their viewers into victims. Biker gangs of decomposing corpses rode the highways of America on the hunt for unsuspecting motorists. Take a front seat in the baddest nightmare in town. Superstar Izzy Stark has the power to make your dreams and nightmares come true. He's the master of disaster, the guru of gore, the doctor of doom, the duke of death and destruction. You can't escape this command performance. So this book is very imaginative, and it really gets into detail with these nightmare visions. And these visions come alive, and they murder in very grisly fashions. It also gets into this, Izzy is taking, I forget the name of the drug, but it's like a drug prescribed for schizophrenics. And by abusing this drug, he's able to create these nightmares. The ending of this book did kind of remind me of something that is like my worst nightmare, and that is to be at a concert and have a fire break out, like that horrible concert fire in Rhode Island about 10 years ago, when that thing went up within like 3 minutes and 100 people died. I love seeing live music, but I'm always standing next to the exit because of that fear. I almost said irrational fear, but apparently it's not irrational because it happens. This book reminded me of that. So it did really get under my skin in that way. I liked Izzy. I guess he was kind of supposed to be almost like a David Bowie kind of character. So does Stage Fright live up to this fabulous cover? I think it really does. And there is kind of this guy in the book. So that's what I read for the month of July. And I will continue just kind of reading through August exactly what I want to read. I haven't done a TBR in a while, but I'm adding Stage Fright to my stack of rock and roll horror. And once I've read all of those books that are in my library, I will do a whole series on that, as promised. So I hope you are staying cool now that we are getting into August. And let me know below what you've been reading. I would love to hear from you. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.